else I was just doing for money. Like
Right.
something would come along and they would say, "Do you want to act?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." And it was always like, "Well, if that sucks, I'll just go back to doing stand-up."
Joe Rogan is an American comedian, actor, martial arts expert, UFC commentator, and podcast host. Joe first became known as a cast member of the comedy series News Radio. He then went on to host the reality show Fear Factor, as well as Comedy Central's The Man Show. Today, Joe operates one of the most successful and powerful podcasts in the world and serves as the commentator for the UFC. He personally holds black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo, and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. He holds a blue belt in Judo. He's also received multiple MMA Personality of the Year awards.
6 more, and it got canceled because they made people drink cum. They made people
On NBC?
drink donkey cum. Yes, and NBC approved it.
If you enjoy these videos, please remember to hit the like button, as it does help us out a lot. And comment below who your favorite celebrity is that you'd love to see in an upcoming video.
His full name is Joseph James Rogan, but is also known as Joe Rogan. He was born August 11, 1967 in Newark, New Jersey, making him 54 at the time of this production. He stands at 1.74 meters or 5 feet 8 inches tall. Joe Rogan took a liking to Cuban cigars, and even as a TV host, he always had one handy. The particular cigar that Rogan enjoys the most is the Wise Man Maduro Robusto. Rogan is an avid hunter and is part of the Eat What You Kill movement, which attempts to move away from factory farming and the mistreatment of animals raised for food. His character on News Radio was originally named Ted Gorelli, but Rogan said there's no way he was a Ted and asked to be Joe instead. Joe's related to Mikey Way and Gerard Way of the East Coast-based rock band My Chemical Romance. Gerard and Mikey are Joe's mother's cousin's sons, making them his third cousins. Rogan was not pleased when he initially discovered he was balding and tried a number of methods from medication to hair transplants to hang on to his hair. Rogan has used his comedy and podcast to discuss his support of drugs such as cannabis, mushrooms, and DMT. Rogan's a public supporter of the recreational and medical use of those drugs. He was featured in a marijuana documentary titled The Union, the business behind getting high, and reportedly has an isolation tank in his home that's supposed to foster a natural production of DMT. Rogan has been an outspoken critic of trans women competing with cisgender women in all forms of amateur and professional sports, including MMA matches. In April 2022, Rogan said that transgender swimmer Leah Thomas might be the woke straw that breaks society's camel's back. Rogan has an interest in sensory deprivation and using an isolation tank. He stated that his personal experiences with meditation and isolation tanks have helped him explore the nature of consciousness and improve his performance in various physical and mental activities and overall well-being. Rogan has vitiligo on his hands and feet. Rogan married Jessica Ditzel, a former cocktail waitress, in 2009. They have 2 daughters, the first born in 2008, the second in 2010. Rogan is also stepfather to Ditzel's daughter from a previous relationship.
When you go looking for Bigfoot, black guys. You will find Bigfoot before you find black guys looking for Bigfoot. It is just a bunch of unfuckable white dudes out camping.
He is Italian and Irish. His father was a police officer in Newark. His parents divorced when he was 5, and Joe hasn't spoken to his father since he was 7. In interviews, Joe has said that he has memories of domestic violence in his home from his childhood. When he was 7, his family moved to San Francisco. When he was 11, they moved to Gainesville, Florida. They eventually settled in Newton, Upper Falls, Massachusetts. Rogan took up karate at 14 and Taekwondo at 15. Rogan graduated from Newton South High School in 1985. When he was 19, Rogan won the U.S. Open Championship Taekwondo tournament as a lightweight. Rogan enrolled at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, but dropped out before graduation. He lived in Boston until he was 24 when he moved to New York City to pursue a career in stand-up. In 1994, Rogan moved to Los Angeles and booked his first national television spot, as well as the MTV comedy show Half Hour Comedy Hour, where he was able to showcase the stand-up comedy he'd worked on during his time in New York City. That same year, Rogan booked his first major acting role in the sitcom Hardball as Frank Valente, a young, egocentric star player on a professional baseball team. Rogan starred in the NBC sitcom News Radio from 1995 to 1999. Rogan began working for the Ultimate Fighting Championship as backstage and post-fight interviewer. He did his first UFC interview at UFC 12 Judgment Day on February 7, 1997. In 2001, he accepted an offer from NBC to host the American edition of Fear Factor. The show ran for 6 seasons from 2001 to 2006. In 2011, Rogan resumed his role on Fear Factor, hosting for the 7th and final season. In February 2003, Rogan became the new co-host of The Man Show on Comedy Central for its 5th season from August 2003. The show ended in 2004. In December 2009, Rogan launched a free podcast with his friend and fellow comedian Brian Redband. In 2011, Rogan played his first major character in the movie Zookeeper. In 2013, Rogan hosted the television show Joe Rogan Questions Everything on the Sci-Fi Network, which aired for 6 episodes.
Chiefs of Staff signed a document saying that they were going to blow up a drone jetliner, blame it on Cuba. They were going to arm Cuban friendlies and attack Guantanamo Bay.
Just prior to signing a massive exclusive deal with Spotify in May 2020, it had been speculated that Joe was earning $20 million per year from his podcast between sponsor reads and YouTube revenue. It should also be noted that the podcast is just one of many sources of income for Joe. He still performs sold-out stand-up shows around the country and is the official commentator for UFC. He also earned millions as host of the television series Fear Factor between 2001 and 2006. Joe's annual salary from Spotify is at least $60 million. Rogan's a co-founder of the supplements and fitness company Onnit, which was sold to Unilever in 2021. Rogan frequently advertises Onnit products on his podcast. He has a net worth of $120 million. In October 2019, Joe spent $5 million on a home in Bell Canyon, California in Ventura County. Joe has called Bell Canyon home since 2003, when he spent $2.2 million on a starter house in the same area. In October 2020, Joe listed the latter home for sale for $3.2 million. In September 2020, Joe plunked down $14.4 million for a mansion in Austin, Texas. The massive lakeside mansion boasts 10,980 square feet and features 8 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms. Rogan's house includes an open floor plan with a dining room, living room, and library all sharing one space. Painted deep blue, this shared living space is accented by rustic wooden pillars and light wood feature walls. The lakeside mansion features a large back porch and deck, alongside an impressive mezzanine featuring a large Buddha statue. With over 300 feet of water frontage, the Rogans are sure to enjoy the property's party deck on Lake Austin. He owns the following cars: a 1965 Corvette Stingray, a 1969 Chevy Nova, a 1970 Cuda the Sick Fish, an MK4 Toyota Supra, a 1971 Ford Bronco, a 1995 Toyota Land Cruiser.